Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into one of Mexico's most haunting legends, La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. A tragic figure whose mournful cries echo through history, La Llorona has captivated imaginations for generations. From ancient myths to modern-day tales, her story warns of grief, guilt, and the supernatural. Let's explore the different versions of her legend and the deep cultural significance behind her wailing cries. The origins of La Llorona. La Llorona's roots can be traced back to pre-Hispanic times. Though the most commonly told version of the legend emerged during the colonial period, it is believed that it incorporates elements of earlier indigenous myths used to explain the natural world and human suffering. The name La Llorona itself means the weeping woman, referring to the wails she makes. According to most versions of the legend, she is a spirit condemned to wander for eternity, crying for her lost children. Her cries are said to echo through the night, often near bodies of water, where she is seen or heard by those unlucky enough to encounter her. The most popular version, the Tragic Mother. One of the most widely known versions of the La Llorona story involves a woman named Maria. In this version, Maria was a beautiful but poor woman living in a rural Mexican village. She married a wealthy man, and together they had 2 children. However, as time passed, her husband became distant and unfaithful. Feeling rejected and betrayed, Maria's desperation grew, and one day, in a fit of madness, she drowned her children in a nearby river. Upon realizing what she had done, Maria was consumed by guilt and grief. She ran to the riverbank, screaming for her children, but it was too late. Her children were gone. Overcome by her actions, she threw herself into the river in an attempt to join them in death. However, she was not allowed to die and was condemned to wander the earth forever, searching for her children and weeping for her crime. In this version, La Llorona is a tragic figure. Her wailing is heard at night, and it is said that if you hear her cries, it's an omen of death or misfortune. Sometimes she is described as trying to steal other children, believing them to be her own. The moral of the story is a warning about the dangers of betrayal, negligence, and the consequences of one's actions. The cultural significance of La Llorona. La Llorona's legend carries deep cultural meaning, especially in Mexican society, where family and motherhood are highly valued. Her tale embodies themes of maternal love, guilt, and the consequences of abandoning one's responsibilities. The tragedy of La Llorona is tied to the idea of a mother losing her children, which strikes at the heart of the family unit. La Llorona also reflects a broader cultural fear of the supernatural and the unknown. The fear of wandering spirits, especially those tied to tragic events, is a common theme in Mexican folklore. The idea that a mother's grief can transform her into an unrelenting, vengeful ghost speaks to the deep emotional impact of loss and the idea that some wrongs can never truly be forgiven. The legend also serves as a cautionary tale for children. Parents often use the story of La Llorona to keep their children from wandering out late at night, especially near bodies of water. The idea that La Llorona could snatch children away if they stray too far from safety is used as a form of behavioral control, teaching kids to respect rules and stay close to home. Variations of the La Llorona legend. Though the core elements of La Llorona's story remain consistent, there are many variations depending on the region and the storyteller. Here are a few of the most common versions of La Llorona across Mexico and Latin America. 1. The pre-Hispanic version, the Goddess of Water. Some scholars suggest that La Llorona's origins lie in the ancient indigenous beliefs about water spirits. In pre-Hispanic Mesoamerican cultures, rivers, lakes, and bodies of water were often believed to be inhabited by powerful spirits. One such figure is the Aztec goddess Chihuahua, who was associated with death and the afterlife. These female spirits were said to wander the earth, often near bodies of water, and could be dangerous to children. In this interpretation, La Llorona is less of a tragic figure and more of a malevolent spirit who takes children to the underworld. Her cries are not necessarily expressions of grief, but more a call to those who are about to die. This version is more closely tied to the mystical and supernatural elements of Mexican mythology, where La Llorona is a personification of death itself. 2. The colonial version, The Woman Who Killed Her Children. This is the version most people are familiar with today, particularly in urban legends told in the context of colonial Mexican society. In this version, La Llorona is a woman named Maria who, in a fit of rage or despair, kills her children. The story is often set in the context of a relationship gone wrong, with themes of jealousy, betrayal, and regret. The colonial period introduced many new elements to the folklore, blending indigenous beliefs with Spanish influences. Some versions of the legend incorporate Catholic symbols, such as the Virgin Mary, who is seen as a contrast to La Llorona's tragic motherhood. In some tellings, La Llorona's punishment for her crime is eternal wandering, and she is sometimes seen as a warning of divine retribution. 3. La Llorona as a supernatural creature. In some versions, La Llorona is not merely a tragic figure, but a supernatural creature with the power to curse or harm others. In these stories, she is depicted as a terrifying ghost or a demon who preys on children. In certain regions of Mexico, La Llorona is said to have a distinctive appearance, with glowing red eyes, long flowing hair, and a distorted, ghastly face. This version of La Llorona is closer to the archetype of a terrifying monster, capable of causing harm to those who cross her path. Her wails are said to be hypnotic, luring children and travelers toward her, where they may meet their doom. La Llorona in popular culture. La Llorona has transcended folklore and found her way into mainstream culture. She has appeared in literature, films, music, and even video games. One of the most prominent modern interpretations of La Llorona comes from Hollywood, with films like The Curse of La Llorona, 2019, introducing her to a new generation of viewers. In these films, La Llorona is often depicted as a malevolent spirit, a force of evil rather than a tragic figure. While Hollywood has provided a dramatic twist on the legend, many Mexican filmmakers and authors have remained true to the folklore, exploring the emotional depth and cultural significance of La Llorona. For example, the film La Llorona, 2019, directed by Jairo Bustamante, uses the legend as a metaphor for the aftermath of the Guatemalan Civil War, showing how grief and guilt can haunt an entire nation. The enduring power of La Llorona. Despite the variations in her story, La Llorona remains one of the most powerful and enduring figures in Mexican folklore. Her image as a grieving mother and restless spirit taps into universal themes of loss, guilt, and redemption. Her legend serves as both a warning and a reflection of the deep emotional pain that comes with the loss of a child. That's a wrap on today's deep dive into La Llorona. What do you think? Do you have your own version or experience with this legend? Drop your stories and theories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future dives into Mexican folklore. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you hear wails in the night, it might just be La Llorona calling. Stay safe and keep an eye on the shadows.